experience really was. So last year in August, I underwent a septoplasty, which is basically a surgery which straightens the nasal septum. It was deviated, of course, and it was causing a lot of symptoms, which I'm going to be discussing further in the video. So let's get started. The very first question, why did I decide to get a septoplasty and what were my symptoms? So my whole life I had been struggling with a lot of nose bleedings, difficulty in breathing, which are some of the symptoms that a deviated septum causes. It was not a decision that was taken overnight. For years I had been taking lots and lots of medicines and the symptoms were just not getting better. So it was like I used to get hell lot of nosebleeds. I cannot even attach those photos that I have of myself getting nose bleedings. And the only solution or a one-stop solution to this issue was getting a septoplasty. But for most people, the most common reason to get a septoplasty is difficulty in breathing, and also many reasons which I'm going to be putting up here. But for me, yeah, only nose bleedings and difficulty in breathing were my primary concerns, for which I underwent a septoplasty. The next question is, how did I prepare myself for the surgery? My surgery actually happened on the 5th of August, so it was like a week of preparation for me, in which the doctor asked me for several blood tests, an ECG, an x-ray of the nose. This is a clip of me getting an x-ray. I was super nervous, but I had had this x-ray before, I guess 5 or 6 years earlier, so I was not really that nervous when I realized that this is something that has happened with me before. The next part is, how did the surgery happen? I was required to not eat anything 24 hours prior to the surgery. So like from 9 p.m. on the 4th of August, I could not eat anything. And on the next day, I think at around 9 a.m. in the morning, I was allowed to have a sip of water, because after that, I could not eat anything or drink anything. The reason why they do this is because they do not want any kind of material that is inside your stomach to gurgle up outside or to come up outside whilst they are in the middle of the procedure. So they do not want any kind of complications. So this is the reason why they ask you to not eat or drink anything before your surgery. I was a little nervous. I really did not want anything to happen to my nose because it would alter the way I looked, and I did not really want that. Of course, nobody wants that. This is me on the day of surgery, very nervous and very scared about the IV thing. I do not like the idea of someone putting a needle up my vein. But anyway, since I had to get it done, I did that. So many mosquitoes here. And so the next thing was, I came to know that my surgery was scheduled for 3:30, which was afternoon. So I came to the library because there were a lot of mosquitoes in the cafeteria. So I came to learn that my septoplasty was to happen at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's 3:30 and I'm ordered to change into my outfits or the clothes that you wear when you go inside an operation theater. And then he started asking some random questions. He injected anesthesia into my body and I completely dozed off. And the next thing that I remember was waking up to the sound of a beeping machine. And then the ENT came and I asked him, was my surgery successful? And he said, yes, your surgery was successful, which was a breath of fresh air. Next thing I remember was I was then put up in my private ward. First thing that you need to know is this is an outpatient surgery for most people, but for me it was not an outpatient surgery. Outpatient surgery is one which requires you to go back to your home the same day the surgery is done. But in my case, the doctor asked me to stay 3 days in the hospital because I required constant monitoring. Next question is, how were the 3 days in the hospital? To be very frank and to be brutally honest about things, it was like living in hell for 3 days. I am not kidding. It really felt like somebody had stuffed up loads and loads of cotton up through my nostril, which extended up till my tonsils area. So it really felt like I was having a very, very bad cold. I really wanted to take that thing out of my nostrils, which was causing me immense discomfort. So I was not required to eat anything. I could only have dal ka pani and tiny sip of water. I think I spent the whole night gasping for some air because I couldn't really breathe through my nostrils. My nostrils were completely stuffed up. There was an entire bandage was put over my nostril to support the nose. The nose was completely dry, but not so much so as I had seen in other YouTube videos. I saw some of the YouTube videos which said mouth completely becomes dry because you're breathing through your mouth 24/7. But in my case, I think it was a little bit bearable. But of course, nobody likes breathing through the mouth all the time. And the only thing that I was grateful about was the fact that I could now breathe normally. Like once the thing was out, I would be able to breathe normally eventually. So that was a thought that kept me going on. So on the third day, I was actually very happy because I knew on the third day they were going to take those things out of my nose. In the morning, my ENT came and asked me to come down to the mini operation theater. And I was asked to lay down again, and the doctor took those things out. Normally, what they do in Western countries is that they put splints up through your nostril. But in India, what I discovered is that they do not put splints. I was happy about the fact that they did not put splints because I heard that they are the size of credit cards. And as soon as the doctor took out those cotton swabs, it was heavy. For the first time in my life, I was breathing through both of my nostrils. Soon that happiness withered away because blood clots started forming again. Now that is very common. If you're someone who gets a septoplasty done and starts getting blood clots, don't be scared at all because this is something that was very natural, very common. And so these were my 3 days at the hospital, which were basically not good. It has been like about 6 months since my surgery and there have been no nose bleedings. So grateful about
my nostrils, so I had to keep something to wipe it off. I'm also putting on a mask because I'm still breathing through my mouth, so just to humidify the air that I'm breathing, I'm putting on a mask.
After the surgery was over and I was asked to go back home on the third day, my doctor gave me several medicines like ointments, some antibiotic, nasal spray to keep my nose moist and prevent it from forming crusts. So the next question is, what was the cost of the surgery? So typically in Indian hospitals, it usually takes about 50,000 to 60,000. From that point onwards, the prices only go high. On an average, it usually costs about 70 to 80,000 for a septoplasty, excluding accommodation and the medicines. Even though I think this is an expensive surgery, you really should get this done if you are someone who's struggling with a lot of symptoms that I mentioned in the part of the video. The next question is, how long did the surgery take? I think the surgery took around 1.5 hours to complete because I went in the OT at around 3:30 and came back at around 5 or 5:30, I do not remember. So around 1.5 to 2 you can expect. So the next question is, how long did it take for me to start breathing normally? I started breathing normally on like 5th or the 6th day. As soon as I came back from the hospital, I took a very big nap. Not yet breathe normally because my nose was filled with a lot of blood clots. On like the 5th day, I think my nose was clearing up. I started feeling like I was breathing normally. Now here's a little unexpected twist. So about 2 to 3 months after my surgery, in late November, I think, I started experiencing some whistling sounds from my nostril. I had never experienced this in my life before the septoplasty happened. That was not bothering me at that point, but I had started noticing some whistling sounds from my nose. I think that was a part of my mistake only because at one point I really stopped putting ointments and nasal sprays that the doctor had given me because I had just moved to college, and in that hustle and bustle between the college classes and assignments and hectic schedule, I really forgot to put ointments and nasal sprays, and I think that took a toll on me. And I wanted to know what was wrong with my nose because at that point I really could not imagine that something like that could even happen. So in December, my exams were about to start. I went in my room, put a flashlight up my nostril and checked in the mirror. I was spellbound in the most negative way possible. I instantly started crying because what I saw was there was a septal perforation in my nose. Now, what is a septal perforation? It is basically a hole in your septum, and that was so disturbing to see. We went to the ENT, and I also explained to him that in October I was hospitalized for about 10 days because I got hepatitis A and jaundice and elevated liver enzymes. Because I was hospitalized, my body really wasn't in a condition to fight. Immune system was in a very weakened state. In that process, my nose was more susceptible to the formation of a septal perforation, and this is the reason why I developed a septal perforation. So I think it was really my fate, my mistake of not putting ointments and nasal sprays consistently. Last week, I think I went to the doctor again. Then he said that this hole is not healing. What he has said is that I need a revision septoplasty, but I really am not in the mood to get another septoplasty done so soon. Also, it's like one of the most crucial years of my life in my college right now, and I really cannot bargain that time and put that into something that I can manage for some time at least. So I am thinking of getting a revision septoplasty, definitely, but not at this moment. I will get it done in the future, but I know right now it's not the time to get a revision septoplasty. I'm trying very hard to stay positive. I'm trying my best to remain calm and accept the fact that I'm having a hole in my septum. So yeah, this was my septoplasty experience. To any one of you out there who wants to get a septoplasty done, do not be scared. Do not be scared that I told you that I got a septal perforation, so you shouldn't get it done. It was just that I was one of the unlucky ones who got a septal perforation. But what I'm happy about the fact is that I can breathe very normally again, and I'm not getting any sorts of nose bleedings. And the only symptom that comes along with a septal perforation is whistling sounds, which I think I manage during the day. It's not very noticeable now, provided that I'm putting sprays and ointments on a very regular basis. So yeah, you should get it done if you're someone who's experiencing a lot of symptoms from the deviated septum. It really does not matter. You just have to make sure that you are following your doctor's post-surgery advices. Take that very seriously. I did not take them seriously, and that is the reason I ended up getting a septal perforation. So yeah, that was it. That was my septoplasty experience. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much if you watched till the end. I'm going to be putting up stamps for particular sections of the video, so you can see whichever part you're willing to see. And that's it. And also my hands are red because it's Holi time. I played Holi with my friends last night, and that's it. And I'll see you guys again very soon.